Oh boy, oh boy. I cleaned up my scene just a little bit so that I can have maximum screen size because I am making a sacrifice for you guys and not using my external monitor for my UV texture editor so you can see what I'm doing. So, you're welcome. So, it is time to get into UV mapping. So I opened up my complete tab, I ungrouped everything, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save as mapping underscore 1. Yeehaw. So we have a few decisions to make. We have to, number one, we have to ask how many textures do we want? And textures here is really materials. How many materials do we want? Well, usually you want only one texture for an asset in a video game because it's going to require the least draw calls. And if you're into to games and stuff, then you understand what I'm talking about. So I think that this can handle doing one, and I can just accommodate the space where I need more detail then. So we have a couple options here. And the most tempting thing in the world to do is to just go la-di-da. I'm going to create UVs, automatic mapping, and I'm done. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. Because while it gives you a decent map here, nothing's attached here. It does give you a 1x1 map, which is nice. As in, 1 pixel relates to 1 pixel. But look at all this empty, wasted space here. And then these guys here, these faces are not being projected properly. I can guarantee it. They're being projected from the side. And if you want proof, we can use our handy-dandy mapper. So I'm going to go ahead and fire up the hypershade and create a new material. La-di-da, la-di-da, do that as color, and then let's grab our file. I just keep it on the root of my external hard drive. Fastest way to find it, easiest for refreshing and everything. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be in the good habit of naming my materials. And then I like to include what kind of material is behind it, even though it doesn't really matter with games. If you're doing animation, it matters very much so. I want more space. So that's extremely tempting option, but it's not the best option. We have 850 tries. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this right. Now, if it was something like 20,000 tries or 20,000 faces, oh, hell no, I'm clicking automatic mapping and just rearranging everything. But that's not going to work here. Because what we want to do is we want to have everything projected appropriately. So we're going to go ahead, and a nice thing to do is to have a Wacom tablet or something, and you can just select the face centers. But like I said, there aren't that many faces in this, so I'm not being super concerned about the time it's going to take to do this. Yes, it's going to take a while. Click in here. You can do paint selection. There are other options available to you. Oh. Quick select sets are your friend. Now I just named that ASDF because I'm a bad person. but I found an issue here. I didn't want to lose my selection, so I made a quick select set, and I fixed the issue. So these are unnecessary tries. So at every stage, you're finding stuff that you can fix. Hell, these are wasted too. Actually, I don't think that one was wasted. I think that's curved. Yeah, that's part of the curve. That's intentional. Alright. So what we're doing now is we are selecting I don't like that tool. It never works. Actually, it does. I just had it set to the wrong selection mode. But there's a lot of tweaking that goes into using that tool. And by the time you finish tweaking the tool, you could have made your selection. So I'm just grabbing all the faces that are on the axis perfectly. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go in here. And make sure that the faces I'm grabbing, I can grab two more this way. So this one, not that one, just this one. These are all on the axis. See, they're all directly on the axis. I can actually grab two more over here as well. 1, 2. These are all on the axis. You're probably thinking, why am I not grabbing through to the other side? And that's a damn good question. This is on the axis directly, so is this. And this is the easy part. We're just doing the world axes right now. Like I said, something that's that makes this a little faster is pulling out your tablet, drawing tablet, and just using the paint selection tools. Is this one? No, the one before it. You'll notice I am grabbing both sides of the polygon. Maybe if you've been working with this before, you've had issues sewing on the when you project on both sides, but I'm going to show you how to fix your problem. So don't worry. Can't delete the UVs anymore. Edit UVs. There you go. And now I'm going to create planar map. I'm going to go on bounding box because I know what axis I want. I want it on the x-axis. You can use this as a little helper if you need it. Keep image width height ratio. And we don't have any deformers, so it doesn't matter if you check that or not. We can go ahead and we're going to project that. And there we go. I'm going to make sure I set this to something I can remember. Or that looks about right. 10 is too big. Let's go for 50. 50 looks about doable. So we're going to remember 50 here. And we can always scale up, that's not a problem. Didn't delete my UVs. I told it to delete the UVs. Oh well. I'm not going to hit it now because I have that projection done. But now we want to, remember that script I showed you in the introduction? We're going to go ahead and we're going to modify that. And since I haven't written any scripts since then, it should still be in my script editor. There we go. I'm going to change these to 50 and 50. I'm going to save this to my shelf. POF 50. Save. And there I can see, there's my 10, there's my, you can kind of see the 50 there. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to delete that so I'm not accidentally using it. Like you just saw, it takes 10 seconds to go ahead and fix that. And yeah, so when you had that problem sewing your UVs, if you've had that issue before, usually used to highlight it. You can just go to layout. You can either manually flip all the things together or you can do layout. I want to make sure that I'm not scaling it. Rotate none. Doesn't matter what I'm projecting into. Flip reversed. This is what you're looking for. You want to make sure that flipped reverse is taken care of. And now it'll lay that out. I think if we do into region and it's too much, it'll still stack out. As long as it's not scaling our UVs, because we want to make sure it's not scaling our UVs. So now we can go ahead and we can start thinking of, or let's just do our other bounding boxes. Or other universal sets. That's not completely flat. So I'm looking for things that are flat along the y-axis. Is this line flat? It's indistinguishable from flat if it's not, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab that. Flat. That looks like it's curved a little bit. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab these. And like I've said a million times before, this is not the funnest part. Most fun. Funnest isn't a word. This is not the most fun thing to be doing. But it's something that's absolutely critical that you do, and you do it well. You don't slack on it. It's so tempting to slack on this. I've done it. You'll end up regretting it. Don't slack on your UV mapping. Now, if you miss a couple pieces, it's not a problem. We can use that project one face script that we just resaved to go ahead and grab it, but I don't like to miss out when I'm projecting here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create UVs, planar map, and I know definitely this is in the y-axis. Project. We're going to make sure we remember to do this 50-50. That sounds like you're making a deal with someone. Hop in here. See that some of them are inside out. Use layout to our old terms. And there we go. You can see I want to go ahead no, that ruined it. I wanted to select the stuff in the shader groups. Actually, I wonder if I select this. I'm going to go ahead and pause. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get back, is to get my selections. Because the reason I deleted my UVs in the first place was to, was so that I could see what I've projected and what I haven't. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this and try and find a way. And when I find one, I'll get back to you. Alright, so if you just noticed a jump, that's because to err is to be human. I made a mistake, so I went back and I took the UVs that I've projected and I moved them over here. Making sure that I did 50-50 both times, planar 1, planar 2. Alright, my bad, I made a mistake. People make mistakes. So now you can see that we don't really even have that many faces. 642 that need to be projected a little more carefully. We still have the Z direction. And I'm making sure. I want to see if I can actually delete these now. Yes! I did it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab these faces. I'm going to assign existing material the mapper Lambert. That's the one that we created earlier. If you were wondering why I wasn't using it, I should have been using it because if I was, would have made it easier. I just got one step ahead of myself. So when you're creating UVs, you want to have assign shader to each projection turned on. What that'll do is, well, you'll see what it does. I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to map the Z-axis, which there's not that much in the Z direction, so it's not going to take long at all. Sure, we got a few small pieces in here, but and this is where you just gotta make sure you just gotta click them. There's no faster way. Even with a paint tool, you'd be or with a tablet, you'd be scrolling around trying to get an angle that you can do this at. By the time you found it, you'll have realized, oh, I could have just clicked them by now. You see, I liberally use the F key. It's really helpful for getting around. Normally, I'm listening to music, especially during the extremely tedious phase of UV mapping. It's tough times when you're not listening to music and mapping. But we will prevail. Hell, you can turn on music. Me though? Nope. I could put in my headphones, but then what would be the point of me talking? Or me doing this tutorial? At that point it's like, is that one flat? Let's see if that's flat. Yeah, that looks straight. It looks like this is straight as well. Yeah, it is. Because we had to line that up earlier. I think I did that off camera, actually. I have this on both sides again now, don't I? This is the side I want it on. This side I don't care about, but I'm going to do the projection before I go ahead and fix that. And it's a good thing we haven't moved and sewed anything yet. Else we'd be in trouble when we came to that. So you always project first, then you move and sew. You shouldn't start moving and sewing while you're still projecting. Some of your projections will be sewn together automatically, like this here, because they're touching. Besides what it automatically does, you shouldn't start sewing until you're done projecting. And that's part of what this Lambert helps us do, is to see exactly what we've projected and what needs to be projected. So I'm going to do that. Set this to 10. And you can see it's the default polygon shader is what it's going to start projecting, not your mapper Lambert. All you do is you go in here and you change that up. And middle mouse click and drag is what's doing that. And you can see I can realize, oh, I haven't done something here. What haven't I done? I haven't changed this to 50. Now if you hop into our UVs, let's see, we're looking better. Another thing that's really bothered me before is if you try and move and sew outside of the main grid area, sometimes it will it won't align properly. So that's something just to keep in mind when you're UV mapping. When you're ready to start sewing, move everything in here. That's just something that was incredibly frustrating. You've got like a trim around a building or something, and you try and sew it all together and it starts curving for no reason at all. They're perfectly straight lines. You've checked them in the component editor. That's just a pain. So now we've got those in. We've got them set to 1010. Before I forget, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fix this again, because I guess we changed that in the turntable tutorial, but never in the actual completed file. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to fill that. And then now that we know that these are all set to 50-50, we don't have to worry about deleting our history, and we can project one face. Oh, that's an interesting thing to note. When you use the project one face, it doesn't assign that material. Sets it 50-50, but it doesn't assign that material. Let's go ahead and let's do a 5-minute tutorial in how to write a mel script, a really simple mel script. We're going to go ahead and we're going to go into our script editor, pop that open, and you can see when you do an action, it's going to be actively throwing itself up here. So I just assign that set E-force element textured facets. We're going to tell it to do that. Let me just copy it actually. It doesn't look like this has polyplanar project 1. And that's why we had to do the delete history, but nothing looks specific in here. So that should be all right. We're just going to name it slightly different. PF50. Go ahead and delete that. Let's just test this out here. Let's grab these faces, which are all in the same plane. PF50. Bam, what do you know? And now you've learned how to write a quick mel script. And there's just one function that you want to do. You want to add something to a mel script. It's really not hard. And now we're just going to go ahead. I'm just going to hit G. And it's going to project it 50-50. And that's our main concern. G, 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 G. Good game. There is something that I do want to test. I hate this keyboard. Are these sewn together, or is there a special command to take care of that? Okay, so they're automatically sewn together when you project them. Sweet. And this is rapid projection. If you were doing this without the aid of that script, you'd be hopping in here and you'd be going through each node and setting your projection width and height. Or you'd just be lazy, you'd give up and you'd start using the automatic mapping, which is not good. It doesn't look good. You get stuff that starts stretching. On organic surfaces, I can understand. You can use the tools for relaxing UVs and things like that, and that's great. But it's never going to get you the precision that this is going to get you. This is far more precise. You have far more control, and if there's something that got me interested in 3D, it's because essentially when you start using this, you become God. There's no light way of really putting that. You control everything, and maybe it's part of me being a little OCD. Maybe it's part of me just being like that, part of my personality, but I thought something was weird there. I like to be in control of what I'm working on. I don't like it when something else has control over my direct thing. Now, that doesn't mean in like a team environment setting that I need to be in control of the environment. No, I just need to have current control of what I'm working on, my individual thing. That's probably going to sound bad in the archives for future. Maybe that'll come and haunt me, but maybe someone else will be like, oh yeah, I totally get that. That totally makes sense and is reasonable. Lol. I just said lol. I should hate myself for saying lol. I caught myself doing that recently. We're getting stuff done. So right now I'm doing everything but the bevels so that I know what's left. And it's a little easier to find what I need to do. Oops. It's actually on another plane. I am going to move and sew this because it was originally sewn and I took it off. Oops. Don't want to sew all those together. And you can tell that I'm using the G key. It's G, G, G. If you weren't able to figure that out, these tutorials have probably lost you by now. Or I'm really good. I should teach. So we're just auto mapping every face. Or best plane mapping every face, but we're planar mapping. Very big difference. Very big difference. This gives you an infinite number of planes to project from. Whereas planar mapping, I think, restricts you, or auto mapping restricts you to like 32 or 18. I don't know which. And now what's great about using this this automatically assigning the texture. I'm going to select objects with that material, assign the mapper to the selection, select objects with this material, go into face mode, shift select, and those are the faces you haven't done yet. And I'm down to the bevels. I didn't miss anything else. So you can see it can be kind of tedious, but it hasn't really taken us that long. It's taken us like 10 minutes to do that. So feel free to copy that script. It's something that I did, in fact, make myself, but I'm sure that, I hope, someone else has come up with it before me. I sincerely hope that someone else has come up with that for me. Because otherwise, oh goodness. I'm surprised Maya hasn't figured that out, or Autodesk hasn't figured out that they should have in the settings the ability to set the projection width and height. Because while, yes, it's easy to do with the script, you shouldn't really have to do it with the script. It should be built in. And this is the point where you wear out your G key and your mouse button. I'm actually considering buying a gaming mouse because I have gone through more mice since I started using Maya than I have my entire life. And I used to edit, so to edit video. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm not going to make you watch me map all this, and I want to listen to music while I do it anyway. I'm going to finish mapping the bevels, and then we will proceed to start sewing. And I thought we were going to have at least 2 hours of projecting, but the script is more recently developed, and it helps drastically. I would have been half this far without it by now. If no, a tenth of the way we are right now. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pause the video, and I'm going to map all the bevels. Project all the bevels. Alright, so there we go. We've got that, we've got this mapped out. Alright, I go in here, and I select objects with material, go into face mode, deselect everything. Nothing pops up. It zooms to the size of the object, which means we have projected this entire surface. Woo! This entire mesh. I shouldn't say surface. That doesn't really... It's not the right word. But we're not done. We've got these assets in here, which I'm going to go ahead and map in a similar fashion, and then I will get back again. Just showing that I am indeed going on to these other pieces. Alright, so that was quite the marathon of UV mapping. You can notice here that sorry about that, my windows got screwed up. But you'll notice here, third time's the charm, that I haven't done any of these repeating items because we can actually duplicate these and it'll duplicate the UVs. It'll duplicate them overlapping the existing one, and then we can just lay out from there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to duplicate these. Snap them here. Oops. Must hit the wrong button there. And then just shift click that. Just delete the untextured one. I'm going to save. Oh. What you want to, if you look here, just to prove that, well done, I can select stuff in the initial shading group and see that it's only the repeated objects, no other faces or anything. So that's how I know I'm done. This one. And this one. And now select items in initial shading group. Nothing. So we are projected. So that's all that really goes into mapping or projecting. With use of this script, which I'll hover over so you can see what the script is, the use of that little script, we have taken a process that usually takes, I don't know, for this it would have taken me at least 5 hours to do, and I've completed it in, I believe, an hour, maybe an hour and a half. So that script is something to make use of. I highly recommend copying that down. And yeah, this is what your final projection should look like. We can go ahead and we can lay out all our UVs. And we're going to have bundles of fun with that later. And we've got our rainbow gun. Yeah, rainbow gun. How fantastic. You see we've got some Z fighting there. I guess we should really correct that at this phase. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab these faces and I'm going to pull them in. Pull them out a little bit. And then just go ahead and reproject these. It'll take more than a second. Select all, layout again. There we go. You can see even with the slight differences, it remaps everything. So yeah. Tomorrow we have 5,511 UVs. I'm going to want to cut down that number so that it's easier on the engine, gaming engine, and yeah, cutting those down is sewing. So I'm going to sew them all together, lay them out for Mudbox, and I'll probably end up doing the same thing I did this time. Open up with an introduction to how it's done, and then I'll go ahead and do it all myself, because sewing is something you either know how to do or you don't. With the script working now, and with everything always coming out straight, there's not too much manual UV tweaking you have to do. There's not a lot of adjustments to make. You just move and sew, figure out which ones you want, which ones you don't, and you move and sew which borders you want and which ones you don't. So I'll see you guys next time.